Hi everybody, Brian Goulet here of GouletPens.com, and I have a special visitor with us here today. This is Mathias from Diplomat, based out of Germany, and he is visiting our office here in Virginia. Matthias, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, Brian, for the invitation.
Absolutely. So you notice he has an amazing French accent. He is French background, even though Diplomat is based in Germany. So he actually bought the company about
3 years ago.
3 years ago. Okay, so relatively new. That's why we're starting to see some newer things maybe coming to Diplomat. So we wanted to, really put a spotlight on the brand, maybe talk about your background and some of what Diplomat is working on these days, since it's a relatively newer brand for us, but I think it's a relatively newer brand that a lot of even fountain pen fans are discovering or rediscovering.
I hope so.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your background. What got you into pens and why Diplomat specifically?
Well, we could say that I'm born with a pen in hand, let's say, because my parents were working in the pen industry too. So from my younger age, I was in pen manufacturers, etc. And so naturally, when I finished my business school, I joined Pilot Company, that the Japanese one,
Yes.
As a sales guy. And I made more than 12 years there, working as a sales guy and after marketing and finishing with the head of the French business.
Okay.
So this is why I'm in the pen, and this is why also I've been to Diplomat after, because I wanted to be an entrepreneur, let's say. And I had the occasion to meet this brand, this fantastic brand, and decided to acquire it. And
Sounds great. Well, I'm a big fan of entrepreneurship.
I suppose, yeah.
That's wonderful. So, what would you say are some of the greatest strengths that Diplomat as a brand has?
Well, the first real point, important, the basis, the roots, is that it's the quality. It's we have 15 people working very hard in Germany, in Grunewald, a very small place in East Germany. They are real craftsmen, and we assemble. And honestly, the quality of the pen was fantastic before we acquired it.
It really was, yeah.
And so it was for us the first asset to say, well, can we do something with the brand? Yes, because the quality is there.
Yeah.
So this is really the first point. And also the other point I liked is that it was, let's say, a little bit specialized in working the pens made of metal. And I felt it was nice because it sounds a little bit old style, but at the same time it's a real asset too, a real difference you can make on the market.
Yes. So pretty much basically every Diplomat pen is made of metal with the exception of the Magnum.
The Magnum, yeah.
Right.
Even has metal, but has a body made of plastic, but the rest is metal too.
But that's one thing, I know we've talked before, a lot of the innovation that you're looking with, you really want to focus on metal. So you're looking at lacquers, different types of engraving and things like that, different types of finishes on metal. Yeah. That's really going to be your specialty for Diplomat and kind of your vision for the future maybe? Yeah,
of course it is. We want to find all the ways to work the metal to be different and also have to admit to look more modern too. Yes. So that's why you were talking about the lacquer. That's a fantastic process and very cool, but we have worked on oxidation, we have worked on flaming, on different things to make the transformation of the metal very cool.
Yeah, I think that's exciting to see some innovations, just for me being 10 years in the fountain pen business and seeing lots of different manufacturers, I'm seeing more innovation coming out now than maybe in years past. So it's interesting to see a new twist on an old method of making pens out of metal.
Yeah, possibly, but the competition push always people to do better.
Absolutely, and you're going to be pushing some other people now.
I try.
With some of what you're coming out. So, obviously you coming in, you clearly have been influential so far in the direction that Diplomat's going. Yeah. What are some of the innovations that you've done so far that maybe people have seen or maybe they're not aware of it, but that you really had an influence?
Well, first we have developed the Aero, a very wonderful design made of aluminum that you have one.
There you go.
Yeah, so you see this Aero is the idea was the design of a Zeppelin, which is a very old thing made of metal, and from that we had to use, for example, aluminum, which is not so common, and anodization process, which makes a very different color. Absolutely. So this was the first step, but also last year we launched the first flame product with the Traveler Flame. It's really interesting because we did it in-house. We tried in-house by ourselves, flaming different metals, different tubes to see what is working or not.
Right.
And finally we found the one who works, and this is maybe the first things we've pushed to make new direction of Diplomat. Yeah.
Yeah, and that actually has been pretty popular for us, even that Esteem flame, or the Traveler flame. Sorry.
Traveler flame,
Yes.
and now you see we come with another process.
Well, we got another thing that we're going to show a little bit later in the video.
Yeah,
To kind of build on
which
that.
is a bit different too. Yeah.
That's wonderful. I didn't realize that the arrow hasn't been around that long, quite honestly, because I've only had Diplomat on my radar for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So this is a newer pen, actually.
Oh no, the arrow, the first arrow was I think 4 years ago,
Okay.
just before we acquired. But we have trying to develop it a lot because we felt it was the real DNA of the company,
Yes.
the flagship we could have.
I would agree with that. I think that it's definitely our most popular pen, and I think, especially the nib design, German-made Yovo nibs, they write fantastic. The pen, it's a little heavier, but still feels really well balanced. It's a great writing pen, so I'm personally a big fan of this pen.
Thanks.
I have several myself, so great job on that.
Thank you.
I'm not just saying that because you're here. I genuinely like the pen. But also you have developed this pen, which we have this, beautiful display here.
Yeah.
This is the MadC. So this is in the Esteem model, which is in size-wise, it's about, in between the Arrow, which is a bit bigger pen, and the Traveler, which is a little thinner.
Exactly.
So this is kind of in that middle range.
Yeah.
But it really actually is like an art canvas here.
It is.
Because it's literally artwork from the street artist MadC.
Exactly.
So can you tell us a little bit, for those of us that don't know, who MadC is and kind of what was your story there?
Yeah. So MadC is a quite famous street artist. She is German, and that was natural. I will explain after that we made the first collaboration about the street art project with her because of all these assets. And the beginning of the history was that we wanted to make a street art pen, street art decorated pen, because we felt there were already many testimonials about great painters made, etc. And the street art for me was the latest and most modern way of art in streets, on walls, very different. And I felt it was a fantastic combination with our pens, because pen is a quite old industry, let's say, but to mix all this very modern style of street art with our pens, from the beginning I was fond of this idea. And we really wanted to do that. I think it's never been, or maybe not so much, in the writing industry. I will never say never, because I don't know all the history.
There's a lot of pens out there, but it's the first that I'm aware, especially a collaboration with someone so famous, so current, that I'm aware. But I mean, maybe years ago. But street art's not that old of an art form either, so it's the first that I'm aware.
But I loved street art before, so you always push the things you like by yourself. I mean,
sure.
So this was the idea, and we chose to work with MadC first because we had the chance that she accepts. That's the first point. But when we knew that she born very few miles from our factory in Germany, also the fact that she was a woman, which is not so common also in the street artist community.
Yeah.
I felt, we have to work with her.
Really highlight, give her some good attention. Yeah.
Yeah, and even more, this very colored art she makes, because you know that street art is very large. You have the graffiti, the real graffiti, but now it has become much more large, and she has a very specific techniques of different layers. She puts more and more layers on the, and very colors. And I said, it will be so flashy for a pen. We have to do that.
So you envisioned her art on your pens.
Yeah.
That was from the very beginning. So how long has this process been? Like, when did you first have that idea, or when did you first make contact with her, and to now to the point where we're showing finished pens?
But the beginning of the idea was 2 years ago, saying I want to make a street art pen.
Okay.
But the first difficulty we had was to say how to put this decoration on a pen, which makes it perfect, makes it nice. And we had to find the technology how to put this decoration on a pen, and it's been quite complicated and long to find the water printing process to do it. And then after, when we knew that with this process we could apply on a pen, we decided to choose one, and we made a selection of some street artists, and we finally contacted MadC. It was at the end of the last year, almost 1 year ago.
Okay.
After it has been quick, but the most difficult was to find the good artist and the technology to make it properly. Because if an artist is confident in us to do something very special for you, you have to respect the work he's doing. So we really wanted to have a good result.
Yeah, this reminds me of the, I think it's Einstein maybe that quoted, success is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration.
Exactly.
So you can have a great idea, but I mean, 2 years, and you've got other things going on.
Yeah.
2 years that's a long time,
Yeah.
to develop an idea like this. So this must really feel like finally you've got something to show for all these 2 years of work.
Exactly, and we are very proud because, it was even nicer than what I imagined from the beginning, to be honest.
I gotta say, it looks really good. I saw pictures maybe a week ago, and then seeing them in person now, the colors just pop. I mean, it's so vibrant. I think it really captures her artwork, and the pen is a great canvas for it too. So you mentioned, this new process you came up with, hydro dipping, I think is officially what it's known as. Explain that process to me. Why is that different than maybe just a spray lacquer or something that you've seen on other pens before?
But the thing is that you have to put a real printing on the pen, but how to make it perfectly, because people who are not from the pen industry are not pen lovers. They think it's just a tube. It's very simple, but this is not really a tube. There are forms, and we need to keep everything perfectly. So this water printing technology was perfect because, how to explain it simply? In fact, you have a film with the printing, but you don't put the film on the pen. You put it on a kind of water.
Yeah, it's like a container of water.
Yeah, and when
the
you
film
put
is on top. Yeah.
Exactly, but the film disappears with the water, and only the ink remains, and so you have to baste the pen perfectly to have the decoration going everywhere on the pen. So this is simply the explanation of the technology.
So it's not like, I mean, there's other pens that maybe you've seen that are like a wrapping or something.
No, there is no film. There is only the color.
So this is a process I think that's been used maybe with different guitars or instruments, or like I've seen it on certain like custom wheels on cars.
Exactly. Some helmets like too, for example.
Yeah. So it's been used maybe in other forms, but I've never seen it done on a pen.
Yeah, I really think we are the first one to use it on a pen. Also, it's used but for personalization, not as a mass production.
Right, because it's different every time, and depending on, because the colors that you put on the film, it's going to look different, and they're going to swirl around, you know. So even if you use the same colors and try to do it, it's going to look different every time. Yeah. So each of these pens is truly going to be unique, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So it makes that to choose the pen, you have to. It's difficult to choose, but each one will be different. It's a unique limited edition because each one is different.
Yes. And for us as an online retailer, has some unique challenges there, because we're trying to display a representation, because there's two different pieces of art that are being represented. So there's two different collections, I guess. But even between each collection, each pen is going to be very, very different, but similar in theme and color.
Of course. The colors and the effect are all the same. Just she has made two canvases for us, and it depends where it's taken on the canvas, the special place of the pen. So, but we wanted to make it unique. I know for you it's more difficult, but
but it's a good kind of difficult. It's the kind of difficult that is interesting and exciting, and we're very happy to see this really come out as it has. I think it looks fantastic. Have you ever done any other collaborations like this, or was this the first time you've done?
In the history of Diplomat, I couldn't say in the whole past. I don't know, but for all the last years, it's the first time we make a collaboration.
Are you happy with how it's turned out? Are you gonna look forward to more, or are you like, you know what? We're going to do our own thing for a while.
We are doing things step by step, and we'll see if it's a real success, what I believe or not. But for sure, if we have the success we think we will have with this pen, the idea is to continue collaboration, or with MadC, or even more. From the origin, the project is to say, okay, this year is MadC, next year we will highlight another street artist, and another, to make discover the street art to other people.
Especially now that you have the process down for actually making the pens, you have more options, I guess,
Exactly.
for collaborating in this fashion. See, spoken like a true entrepreneur. We're not sure, but we're going to try it out.
Exactly.
And if it works, we'll keep doing it.
You can only know when you have tried.
Exactly. I definitely vibe with that. What was the process like working with her? Did you have like direct contact with her, or I mean, she's a really popular. I imagine, are you working through an agent or whatever? I'm just curious.
Well, the first selection of street artists was made by our agency, who proposed different street artists. And as I said from the beginning, when I saw her work, I said, I want to work with her.
Yeah.
And I met her directly in Germany, in Halle, where she is located.
Nice.
And it's been very simple. She's very keen. She's nice. And the only thing is that she doesn't want to make lots of collaboration because her heart is the most important for her. Yeah. She doesn't want to sell her too much. Yeah. And we had the chance. She accepted because she said, I like pens in general. I love pens, but like all artists, I would say. And also because I think the fact that she born very close to the company made something special in her head. And the last point, and I was surprised, it's because I was French. And she said, well, French people, you understand street art. So, okay, let's go. The combination was done. So it was very simple. Wow. And from that point, she said, okay, I make 2 canvas just for you. And we go.
That's really interesting hearing, the backstory, because so much of it you think, okay, we'll just put a design on a pen and try to sell it. No, there's really a lot of heart and soul into a collaboration like this.
Of course.
Which is why I'm so excited to tell the story a little bit, because it really just gives so much more meaning to it than just it's a bright, colorful pen.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing all that. I know that we have a couple other things. We're talking about things you're developing for the future.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you brought a couple things with you today that we can show that are going to be coming maybe not right away, but in the next couple of weeks, maybe a month or so.
Sure.
The first one I think that we have is building off the Diplomat Arrow is the Arrow Flame. So we kind of alluded to this before. So this is taking the same technique of what was done on the Traveler and doing it on an arrow.
Exactly.
But it's different, right? Because the arrow is normally made of aluminum.
Yeah.
Which doesn't flame, does it?
Yeah. At the beginning, I didn't think it would be so complicated to manage to do the pen.
Oh, just put a flame on it and it's flames.
Yeah, but you can't flame the aluminum. It doesn't make anything. So we had to make it of steel. And the steel was very hard to work, very different. And after the flaming, you have to flame much more. This because it's a bigger pen to have the real effect. But now I feel it's very, very nice and interesting. But it's one of the assets, what we said. We work the metal to make it different and fun. Mm-hmm. For me, the flaming, whereas it's on a Traveler flame or on the Aero flame, has a kind of vintage style of the 60s. Many things I liked from the motorcycle industries and all this kind. And I love the spirit, and I really find it on the Aero flame.
Yeah, and it's a little bit heavier than the regular Arrow. If you're familiar with the regular Arrow, it's aluminum, it's a little lighter. Even though it's a big metal pen, it's not so heavy. This one's got a little more weight to it, but...
because of steel.
Because of steel, so it's a different material.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about the fact that, yes, your manufacturing process is different because, the hardness, how much it wears on the tools is completely different for steel versus aluminum.
We broke the tools.
You broke
in the middle of the production. We broke the tools.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, that's life. That's life. But it was complicated. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I can imagine. So is this going to be an ongoing regular thing, or is this just a limited run?
No, this one is not limited.
Oh, great. I'm glad to see that.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So we're excited to see that. It'll be available, I believe, in all the same nib offerings as the other arrows. It's got this nice kind of gunmetal trim to it that's got a bit of a matte finish. One thing that we have with our customers, when you have a metal grip on a pen, sometimes it can be slippery and it can be hard to write with, but when you have a matte finish on it like this, it helps so much with the way that it writes. So I'm really glad to see that on here, just like you have on the other arrows. It's part of what makes it such a great writer. And the click mechanism on this arrow is, I think, one of the best capping click mechanisms of any pen, and I'm saying that very genuinely.
Thank you, Brian.
It's so satisfying. It's just, it clicks in the right place. It lines up perfectly. The machining on it is just fantastic. That's that German precision right there
It
that
is.
you would expect, right?
Yeah, but that was the roots of quality I was talking about at the beginning.
Exactly.
And we are very proud. It's been a big process to make it very nice for the clicking system, but that all the teams in Germany are working so hard to make it perfectly, and it works.
They do a fantastic job. I really love the click, specifically on this arrow. And then the other thing you have, which I did not even know about before you came here today, is you have a new Excellence A+ that's coming out.
Yeah.
So this is called the Waves,
Yeah, absolutely.
and this is a guilloche
Yeah.
technique. Guilloche, guilloche.
Guilloche
I'm learning the
technique.
difference between those.
Wow.
But you know, this is from what I understand, a matte lacquer. It almost feels like rubber, but it's a lacquer on top
Yeah.
of the metal.
Exactly. It's a black matte lacquer, which has been guilloched after, and then you are putting the chrome in the guilloche to have this very brilliant effect in the waves. So we call it waves because our imagination was the desert waves, you know, of the sand. So, but desert wave was a bit long. We said waves.
Yes, yes, I like that.
But once again, you see, Brian, it's for me, it's maybe more classical style.
It is, yeah.
But it's the metal which makes the difference there, which is with the guilloche or with the flaming. It's the metal who is making this effect. And that's why I like also this pen a lot, because without the guilloche, without the metal, you would never have this kind of effect.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially the different color like that underneath. You can't do that with resin. So that is really neat to see. And to be clear, you educated me on this a minute ago. I'm gonna try and say it right on video here. So guilloche is a proper way to say it. It's not, in American, we say things kind of however, and we just assume that it's maybe right or wrong. But you know, guilloche is the proper name for it, and guilloche is if it has been guilloched.
Exactly.
Basically.
Guilloche in French
Like
means
it has,
guilloched.
It has been guilloched.
Exactly.
So I guess technically, depending on how you're speaking about it, you can say it either way. But that's, I guess, the more proper way to say it. So this is a guilloche pen.
Yeah.
But it has been guilloché.
Exactly. Nice.
There you go.
Well done.
Okay. I'm learning a little bit. I got some French heritage in there, but it's a long ways back. I took French in high school, but not much of it stuck. That's okay. Wonderful. So this is exciting to see some of the new things that you have coming. Clearly, you're making a lot of things happen at Diplomat. Is there anything else you wanted to share with us today that we haven't already talked about?
Well, no, I will have many things to share maybe with you next year because, of course, as you imagine, we are trying to work on new specific things which will push the attractivity of Diplomat again. But it's a bit too early, I'm sorry, to share that with you today. I want to keep the surprise to you.
That's all right.
No,
don't want to reveal everything at once here. You want to give us things to look forward to.
Exactly.
So I appreciate that.
But nothing else to say. Just thank you really for this interview.
Absolutely.
I love, as you see, I'm a long speaker because I love the pens and I love talking about that. And that's really a pleasure to be able to show that to so many people.
Well, it's our honor to have you here, to be able to share with our audience here the things that you're working on to let you know a little bit more, kind of the man behind Diplomat, and maybe highlight this brand that maybe wasn't on your radar so much before. So give it a look. We're going to have these pens on gouletpens.com. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you like what we produced here today and you want to see other good things that we've done. Matthias, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, everybody, and right on.